Namaste, welcome yogis. My name is Kassandra and I'm going to take you through a really wonderful full body beginner yoga class. You don't really need any props for this practice, but if you do happen to own some blocks, you might want to have them close by just in case. And we're going to begin sitting and try to sit in a way where you have one shin in front of the other. If that doesn't work, you can just be cross-legged, which is fine as well. But if so, try to get your right shin in front of your left one. And we're going to rotate and move over towards our right knee and just crawl the fingertips out as much as you can while pushing down into your left hip. So you should start to feel a really great stretch here through the left side of your rib cage and maybe along your back. Try to relax your head and your neck. And just staying up high on the fingertips. See if you can crawl them out even more. And now keep your right hand as it is and stretch your left arm all the way up. Big diagonal line, opening your chest and really rolling that left shoulder back. And inhale, come all the way back to center and switch so that you have your left shin now in front of the right one and face over towards your left knee and start to crawl the fingertips out, lengthen out and really reach through your right arm, push down into your right hip and stretch out through the side of your waist. So most important in this class is that you stay connected to your breath, slow and steady. Inhales and exhales through your nose if possible. And keep your left hand as it is and stretch your right arm all the way up, big diagonal line. Try to roll your right shoulder back. Really expand nice and long. And use a little bit of core strength to come all the way back through to center. And now sitting in any way that works for you, we're just going to open up our arms, little cactus shape here. As you inhale, puff the chest forward, and on the exhale, round and contract forearms together. So inhale, open up, exhale, round and bring it in. Two more like this, cat and cow from our seated position. Get this motion in your upper back, in your mid back. And coming all the way back to neutral, you can bring your left hand to your right knee, right hand behind you, twist. Draw your navel in and try to eliminate any rounding from your spine here. So you're trying to lengthen and get even straighter as you roll that shoulder back. And release to center and switch sides. So right hand on your left knee, left fingertips behind you, roll it back. So your hips are facing forward and you're really just rotating through your spine. Maybe looking over your left shoulder. And release. Let's find tabletop pose on hands and knees. Palms underneath your shoulders. Knees underneath your hips, spread your fingertips nice and wide. So really important here, your foundation. You want middle and index fingers to be pointing towards the top of the mat and really push into your fingertips and knuckles. Just cat and cow, inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze, curl tailbone up. Exhale to reverse this, pull your navel in, let your head be heavy. And keep going, try to match movement with breath. So exhale, you round, and inhale, you drop your belly and lift your gaze. Two more here. Keep pushing into fingertips and knuckles. And come back, neutral tabletop pose. Engage your abdominals here, so working on core strength. Keep your toes pointed back and see if you can push into the tops of the feet, super straight spine, and then lift your knees and your shins just an inch or two off the floor. And then set them back down. Squeeze and lift your right knee up. This is kind of like puppy fire hydrant. So you're lifting your knee up as high as your hip. and then set that knee and shin back down. Push into the feet, squeeze and lift the knees off the mat, strong through your shoulders. Knees come down. This time go ahead and lift your left hip. Notice if you're bending your right elbow, try to press it straight. And release. So a little faster this time, going through the sequence. Inhale, lift the knees. Exhale to lower. Inhale, right knee lifts up to the side. Exhale, bring it back down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, shins to the mat. Inhale, left knee and thigh, lift to the side, push the elbows straight. Exhale, set it down. One more on each side. Inhale, lift and lower. Right knee lifts and lowers. Last one, lift the knees, lower them down. Left knee and thigh squeeze up and lower it down. Keep your hips over your knees and walk your hands out in front of you. Try to relax your forehead and your chest down towards the floor. So a nice puppy pose. So that little kneeling sequence was certainly challenging, totally normal if your heart rate has elevated, but try to come back to those slow, steady breaths in and out through your nose. And let's ripple all the way forward into our Sphynx pose. So laying on your belly, keep your forearms on the mat, spread the fingertips wide, and think of lifting your heart up, rolling your shoulders back, and broadening through your chest. And release down towards the mat. Slide your hands a little bit further down so they're closer to shoulder level. Push into your feet. Inhale, chin, chest, and palms come off the floor. Exhale to lower down. Twice more like this. Inhale, squeeze and lift. Exhale, release. Last one. Inhale up. Exhale to lower, push into your palms, engage your core and your abs, and see if you can push back up using arm strength back into your tabletop pose. From this tabletop pose, hands are under your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips. Reach your right foot back and roll to the inner edge of your right foot. So you're leaning on your left hand, left knee, and then right arm can stretch up towards the sky. So I'm trying to align my right shoulder directly over the top of the left one, and also trying to stack right hip on top of the left hip. And if you're feeling pretty good balance-wise, you can challenge yourself by looking up towards your thumb. Really strong here. And if you'd like to challenge yourself further, you're going to squeeze into the glutes and maybe float your right foot off the floor. So only balancing on left hand and left knee. So just because a class is called beginner does not mean it won't necessarily have some challenges. And let your right foot come down to the floor. Just stretch your right arm up overhead. Big side body stretch here. And let's release. And we'll go do that same thing on the other side. Step your left foot back. Roll to the inside edge of that left foot so it's flat on the floor. This will help you with balance. And then your left arm can stretch up to the sky. Stacking one shoulder over the other, one hip over the other. Maybe you start to look up towards your thumb. If that's a little too much, keep your gaze right in front of you or even down on the floor. And if you'd like to, see if you can float and lift your left heel up just as high as your hip. And if you can't breathe, you know you've gone too far in this pose. And left foot comes down, take a big side body stretch, bicep along the ear. And left hand comes back down. Let's find our first downward facing dog. So from tabletop pose, you'll need to walk your hands a couple inches past your shoulders before tucking your toes under and lifting your hips up and back. So feet about hip width distance apart. Go ahead and paddle the feet so you can bend one knee and straighten the opposite leg, and just switch that a few times. Getting a nice stretch in your calves, the back of your knees, into your hamstrings. And try to lengthen out through your spine, straightening your arms, relaxing your neck, let your head be heavy. And you can start to walk your feet towards the top of the mat for a Ragdoll Fold. So keep your feet pretty wide. You can bend your knees a lot here. Maybe hold on to your elbows as you sway a little bit side to side. Big stretch through the back of your legs. And release your fingertips down to the floor. Bend your knees a little bit more just so you can bring your big toes together to touch. So feet together. And now bend your knees as much as you can. Let your hips come down nice and low as you lift up into your chair pose. Roll your shoulders down and away from your ears, and as if you were sitting down in a chair, really fire up through your glutes, fire up through your thighs. Bring your hands at your heart, sink down a tiny bit lower, and then go ahead and press all the way up to stand. Release your arms by your sides, roll your shoulders back. And separate your feet so they're once more about hip-width distance apart. And I'm just going to turn to face towards you guys to make it easier for you to see. So as you lean on your left leg, go ahead and squeeze to pick up your right knee and right leg off the floor. So notice how one hip wants to lift up higher than the other. Try to keep them both at the same height. This is using ab strength and hip flexor strength. Keep your gaze steady and see if you can open up that right thigh to the side, similar to what we were doing on all fours. And bring it back forward and lower it down. And let's go do the same thing, other side. So lean onto your right leg, squeeze and lift that left knee up. Make sure you're not tilting through your pelvis. Try not to dig with your toes. And now go ahead and open all the way out to the side. Big rotation in that hip. All the way forward again and release. Okay, so one more time, we're gonna add on from here. Lean on your left leg, squeeze and lift your right knee up. Go ahead and open out to the side and then make your way to your tree pose. So you're going to place that foot somewhere alongside the inside of that leg, maybe up towards the thigh, or you might be down at the shin level, which is totally fine as well. So choose where you want to place your right foot. Try to push and squeeze everything together to lift up a little bit taller. And once you feel like you have some balance, maybe you play with opening up your arms. So holding your breath does not make this any easier. And think of growing even taller in this pose. Let's bring our hands back together, front of the heart, and carefully release. And we'll go and switch sides, shake it out. So leaning on your right leg, go ahead and squeeze to lift that left knee up as high as it'll go. And then open it out to the side. And we're going to place it for tree pose. So place that foot anywhere along the inside of the leg that feels good. Try not to push out in your hips so much. So really squeeze everything in. Pulling up nice and tall. Take your time. Notice if you're digging your toes into the floor. Try to lighten a little bit through your toes. And maybe you can reach your arms up and out. One more big breath here. And hands come together at the front of the heart and release. So turn so that you're facing the long edge of the mat like me, and go ahead and widen your feet. So widen the legs, widen the feet, and you want both feet to be parallel to the shorter edges of your mat. Hands on your hips as you inhale, lift up. And on the exhale, you're going to hinge forward and fold down. Place your hands wherever is accessible to you. So this is one of those poses where maybe If the floor is far away, you might want to have a block or two under your hands. And you can always play with the distance between your feet, but just try to relax your head, relax your neck. Big openings to the backs of the legs here. Start to walk your hands out in front of you again. Bring your hands to your hips, push your feet into the floor and come all the way up, really strong here. Now turn both heels in, all toes pointing out in a diagonal, so about to the top corners of your mat. And then bend into your knees, into your temple pose as you squeeze those knees open. You really need to work into your glutes here. And go ahead and reach your arms up overhead. Inhale, exhale, sink down a little lower. 2 more like this here. Inhale, big circle with the arms. Exhale, draw that in. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Bring your hands to your thighs. You should feel them activate from here. And just let yourself kind of rest on your legs and see if you can drop one shoulder down, rolling the other one back. And then you switch. The other shoulder drops. Coming back through to neutral, push into your feet, come all the way up. Turn so that your front toes are pointing towards the top of the mat and your back foot should be parallel to the back of your mat. Warrior 2, bend into that front knee as you open out through your arms. Palms are facing down, and as you bend into that front knee, think of squeezing it open towards your little toe. Deep opening into our hips here. As you inhale, straighten that front leg, bring your arms up overhead to touch. Exhale, press down a little deeper into Warrior 2. A few more like this. Inhale, up. Exhale, press and push down. 2 more. Breathe in and straighten. Exhale, push down. Last one, inhale. And exhale, Warrior 2. Drop your right hand to your thigh, reach that left arm up and over, big side body stretch. Back to Warrior 2. Straighten your front leg, turn those toes in so it's parallel to the top of the mat, and now pivot so that you're facing towards the back of your mat. Warrior 2, same thing, but just on the other side. So as you bend into that back knee, squeeze it open. You want your knee on top of your ankle. Bend it down, and then inhale, straighten the leg, reach your arms up. Exhale, press and sink a little deeper. So flowing with your breath, make this a mindfulness practice. Inhale, stretch it up. Exhale, get deeper into your hips. Last one, inhale and exhale. We'll reverse our warrior, left hand down, right arm up. Pull the belly in. Come all the way back through to center. Push the legs straight, turn the right toes in. So exactly like what we did before, hands on your hips, both feet are parallel to the shoulder edges of your mat. Lift up and fold on down. And this time, see if you can walk your hands over towards your right foot and right leg. Maybe holding on to your shin, to your ankle, to your foot. And switch sides, go and stretch a little deeper towards the other leg, reaching for the left shin or the left ankle. Come all the way back to center. Lift your chest up first, bring your hands to your hips and really push your feet into the floor to lift all the way up. And we're gonna step to the top of the mat. Hands at your heart, close your eyes, find the flow of your breath again here. And inhale, arms rise. Exhale, fold all the way down. You can definitely bend your knees here. Halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, and find downward dog from here. So can you step those feet back? Hands shoulder width distance apart. Feet are about hip width distance apart or so. Curl your tailbone up towards the sky. Stretch everything out a little bit longer. And we're going to step our right foot forward in between the hands to the top of the mat. You might need to use your hand to help it along. Back knee comes down to the floor. So low lunge, we want our right knee directly over the top of that ankle. And then you can push your feet into the floor in order to lift up. So really lengthen your tailbone down, draw the lower belly in, and use that to find a little bit more length. So we're looking for a nice stretch through the front of our left thigh and left hip. Bring your hands down towards the mat. Push into your right heel so that you can straighten that leg and fold, getting deeper into your hamstrings. Relax your shoulders, your neck, your head. And now a little bit of a challenge from here. Bend into that front knee once more and come back through to your tabletop pose and kick that right leg up and back. So roll your right hip down, the front of your leg should be facing the floor, and maybe you stay exactly as you are. If you'd like to go a little further, you're going to reach your left arm forward, bicep is along your ear. Take an inhale, reach it out. And exhale, round and contract, bring your elbow and knee together to touch. 2 more like this. Inhale, stretch long. Exhale, squeeze, pull it in. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Tabletop pose, and let's take a child's pose. Big toes together, widen your knees, bring your hips towards your heels and fold down. So just taking a few breaths here to slow down our heart rate. Checking in, seeing how you feel from this sequence so far. Try to let your hips be heavy. And we'll make our way back to downward facing dog, so take your time. Hands will be shoulder width distance apart, feet are hip width distance apart as you lift your hips up and back. And just make any little movements and adjustments that feel good here to stretch out. Downward dog is a really wonderful full body activating pose. There's really nothing it's not working here. And we're going to go to the other side for our low lunge. So you can step your left foot forward to the top of the mat in between your hands. Right knee comes down to the floor. So knees on top of the ankle, push into your feet in order to lift up. So what we don't want here, especially if you are flexible, is to dump all of the weight into the low back. Try to stay up a little bit higher, reach your tailbone down, pull your belly in, and then lift up from there. So while we are stretching deeply in this pose, it's also very much about strengthening and about finding stability in our joints. Let's bring the fingertips down to the floor. Push into your left heel to straighten that front leg as you fold. You can definitely bend your left knee here if you need to. And start to bend into that front knee. We're coming back to tabletop pose on all fours. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and extend your left leg up and back. Roll that left hip down so the front of the thigh is facing the floor. And maybe you stay here, there's already a lot going on. Or if you'd like, you can stretch your right arm forward. Take an inhale to lengthen, and then exhale, bring your elbow and knee together to touch. 2 more like this. Inhale, out. Exhale, contract in. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Release, and one last time. Let's find our child's pose. Big toes together, knees apart, fold down. Try to relax your body completely as we start to cool down. And we're just going to make our way to lay down on our backs. So you can lie back down and keep your knees bent so your feet are flat to the floor. Your feet should be about hip width distance apart, and you want to have your heels pretty close in towards your glutes. Really roll your shoulders down and away from your ears. Palms are facing up to the sky. Squeeze your glutes, power up through your thighs, and see if you can push to lift your hips off of the floor. So you're lifting and pushing your hips up as high as they can go, without letting your knees open up to the sides. So really keep your knees stacked over the top of your ankles. You're going to have to hug in through your inner thighs a little bit in order to do this. So this is your bridge pose. See if you can squeeze a little more to lift a little higher. No tension in your neck. And slowly release inch by inch until your hips are back to the floor. You can extend your arms out to the sides into a little cactus shape or a T shape. Hips move over to the right and let both knees and thighs drop to the left. Into a Lang spinal twist. Collarbones facing up. Inhale, lift the knees back up. We'll switch sides. So move your hips a little bit over towards the left side of your mat and let both knees drop down to the right, one thigh over the other. Come back to those slow, steady breaths. Inhale, lift all the way back through to center and just pull your knees in towards your belly if that feels good, giving it a squeeze. We're setting ourselves up for Shavasana, our final resting pose. So go ahead and extend out long with your legs, with your arms. Give yourself lots of space to get comfortable and settled here. And I know it might be tempting, especially at home, to exit the video at this point and stop your practice, but I really, really, really encourage you to stay here. Really let yourself enjoy this time of rest and relaxation. This is like digesting after a big meal. It gives your body the opportunity to really process all of this good, hard work that you've done. So give yourself permission to linger here, to connect to your breath, and to notice how your body feels now as opposed to when you first stepped onto your mat. Start to breathe a little bit deeper so that you can wake back up. Moving through your fingers and your toes, rolling your wrists and your ankles. Go ahead and stretch your arms up overhead, reaching your fingertips away from your toes. And we can roll to one side, come up into a seated position, any way that is comfortable. Close your eyes once you're there. And you can bring your hands together at the front of your heart. Showing yourself gratitude. Really recognize and honor all of your hard work. And we'll close with the chant of Om one time. Inhale to chant, big breath in. Om. Namaste. Thank you so much, yogis. Please do subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment to let me know how this went for you. If you'd like to stay a little bit longer on your mat, you can follow this up with a really simple guided affirmation meditation. The link is right here. And also I have a free 30-day morning yoga challenge right here on YouTube. I'd love to have you join us. You can click right here for more information. Thank you.